So now we're moving on to, I guess, Etudes. The Etude book that I recommend, that all clarinetists most likely recommend, are the Rose Etudes. And Rose Etudes, there are two books. There's the 32 Etudes and there's the 40 Etudes. You can do either one. What I will say is that the 32 Etudes, in my opinion, are better. And the 32 Etudes are on the most auditions. So if you learn the 32 Etudes, you have learned possibly something that'll be on your next audition. Unless you live in a place where, like, the Allstate is asking for the 40 Etudes, in which case you can disregard everything I said and learn the 40 Etudes. I am currently uploading an Etude a week, or trying to. I've got the first 3 Rose Etudes up already, and I'm planning on doing the 4th this week. We'll see how that goes. But it basically alternates between slow Etudes and fast Etudes, and the fast Etudes are the most straightforward, I guess. Like, it's just technique. It's just practicing it slowly with the metronome, nailing the articulation that is laid out in front of you. The slower Etudes have a little bit more to them. There's a lot of 30-second notes, there's a lot of subdividing, there is a lot of details. In the slower Etudes, it goes from, like, pianissimo to forte, and it could be different in every single bar. The articulation is different, the rhythms are different, and there's more of a chance to be really, really musical with the slow ones than there are with the fast ones. That's not to say that the fast ones can't be musical, because they can be, but if you only have a week to learn the fast one, it's better to learn just the technique and then talk about ways to make it musical. So, I mean, my Rose Etude book, like, lost its cover years ago just because I use it so much. These are also, I believe, yeah, these are on these are also on imslp.org as well, the 32 Etudes by the Rose Etudes by Cyril Rose. So, pretty standard Etude book. Another good Etude book is the Polatschek Etudes, and I like these because, well, first of all, not all of them have a little house on it. My little brother put that on there. But all of the Etudes in here are based off of other composers, which I think is really interesting. I'll just read you the table of contents. The first, like instead of being called, like, Etude number 1, it's called after Johann Sebastian Bach. And yes, Polatschek did write this Etude himself, but he did it in a style of Bach, which is kind of cool because clarinet, in terms of instruments, is a relatively new instrument, and so it wasn't around when Bach was writing, unfortunately, so we don't have any original works that Bach ever wrote for us. We have transcriptions now, which are great and, like, super difficult, but it was not really until, like, Mozart came around where he was like, guys, what are you doing? You know, number 3 is after Scheherazade. Like, Scheherazade is just one of the quintessential clarinet excerpts. Another quintessential clarinet excerpt is Shostakovich Uno. And there's the 5th Etude is after Shostakovich Symphony Uno. Richard Strauss, Beethoven, Samuel Barber, there's, oh hey, Victor Polatschek, Prokofiev, Mahler, Ravel, Schoenberg. So all of these composers we know, and these Etudes are sort of written in their style based off of clarinet excerpts that we are expected to learn and audition on. I found this to be really helpful and also really fun and really interesting, and at times nerve-wrackingly hard. But that's, like, the whole point of Etudes is to challenge yourself. So I recommend the Polatschek Etudes. Another Etude book is Melodious and Progressive Studies. If you're not super advanced, this is a good intermediate book by David Hite. This is book 1, and it has Etudes that are a little bit shorter, and they're definitely Etudes. Like, with the Rose Etude, you could do a slow Etude and have it be, like, a little solo performance. I would perform Etudes as, like, part of a church service before, and these are Etudes that sound like Etudes, if you know what I mean. There's also not a whole lot of variation. Like, once you get into a style here, like Etude 18 in E minor, it's It's all triplets and quarter notes. So if this looks like something that would be more your speed, I still recommend this book. There are notes all over this. I have used this book before. These are all my tried and true Etude books. Melodious and Progressive Studies, I think, is a great book to start before you want to tackle the Rose Etudes. So this is sort of like the preparation to play the Rose Etudes. And then the last one I grabbed out of my bin because I have inherited so many method books from my parents because my mom plays clarinet and taught clarinet. My father plays clarinet and taught clarinet, and my stepdad plays clarinet and didn't really teach clarinet, but like he plays clarinet. And then there's me who like I have inherited all of their music. This is just a book full of etudes. There's Ben Zander's in here. Great. It starts off with duets. So there are some duets that you can learn with a friend or a peer or a teacher. Also, these are going to sound like etudes, kind of the same speed as the Hite, maybe a little bit more difficult. Actually, as I'm looking, quite a bit more difficult. Look at number 10. This is number 10. I don't even want to learn that. I don't even want to think about it. Sorry, the Lazarus method for clarinet. This would be kind of along the same lines as the Hite book that I was just talking about, where like if you're intermediate, like even something that looks like this is still helpful for not like beginner players, but still helpful for not as advanced players because you can play them all slowly. You can play them all under tempo and learn them. Like if something is all 16th notes, learn them as 8th notes first and then just go from there. These books are not meant to be played like, okay, here's page 1, flip. Okay, here's page 2, flip. Like you're meant to like be working on these studies for like multiple days, perhaps even multiple weeks at a time. But those are the books I recommend. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you use any books that I did not mention, why don't you throw those in the comments? Because there are a lot of really good books that I didn't mention just because I don't have them and I'm not as familiar with them. But, you know, if you have more experience with another book, put it down below. The comments, I love it when the comments is like a resource section. If you made it to the end of the video, you get to know about this beforehand. I think that my channel is small enough right now where I can offer short clarinet lessons. If you are interested, you right there, if you are interested in having a clarinet lesson, the way to get in touch with me is my Facebook is in the comment section. You click on the link to the Facebook, send me a direct message, and it might take me like a couple days to get back to you, but if you send me a message with your email, what you're working on, sort of what you have questions on, and maybe give like one thing that you want me to go over, like the first movement, like the exposition of the Mozart Clarinet Concerto or something. I am happy to listen to you and give you some advice. And I don't want to like put a price on it basically, but if you're able to, I'm thinking of doing sort of like a pay what you can kind of thing where like if you have no money, and you want a lesson, I'll give you like a 20-minute free lesson. Like I will give you a free freaking lesson just over Zoom because I've been doing Zoom lessons for like the past 2 months and I am bored as heck at home. And I think it would be cool to find a time where we're both free and you can play a little bit for me and I can give some feedback. Even if you have a clarinet teacher, it can be good to get somebody else's input. I have the teachers who have formed me as a human, but I also have like these little lessons that I've had here and there, just like one-off lessons with amazing clarinetists and master classes with amazing clarinetists who have given me really good information that I have used, you know, 10 years down the line. So I'm not saying that I'm the next greatest American clarinet player in the world, but I might be able to offer you something, like maybe something that I heard from one of these great lessons, you know? It's just an idea that I have. So if you're at all interested, send me a message. And if you're interested in me scanning like a page or two of these books just so that you can either use them to practice, or if you're interested in using them, you know, if you want to like sample a couple of the books before you buy one, I'm happy to do that as well. Just give me a couple days to do it, and also go to the Facebook link, send me a message. Make sure your email is in there so I can get in touch with you. The best way to like ask me a direct question and get me to respond is through my Facebook private messages. But also like in the comments, but like I don't want you to like feel like you have to leave your email in the comments where it's like more of a public place. These are private messages, and I'm not gonna like share your information or sell it to a foreign nation. Anyway, that is all I have for you today. I've given you probably a lot to think about, but get one of these books and go practice.